Hey everyone, this is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is
Season 7 of Pero Let Me Tell You. It is 289.
Look at that. Okay. You guys are rock stars.
Okay. The whole episode count is always a thing. Mm-hmm. I'm always like, it's episode 226. And no, it's like 270 something.
Yeah.
So this will be our cold opening.
Yes, it will be our cold open. Absolutely.
So with that said, welcome everybody to episode 289 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
We're closer to 300.
Closer to 300.
Yeah.
And you may hear an additional voice today.
Uh-oh.
Well, if you don't, then you're the problem. Because there is an additional person here.
Can you imagine? Somebody's like, no, I don't hear her
I hear
all.
nothing.
Not like I read.
So we have the great Vanessa James with us today, and she is going to be our co-host for the next hour, and she's going to be joining us on all the Pero Talk and all the everything and nothing that we talk here on Pero Let Me Tell You.
Yep.
So thank you so much for joining us.
I'm so excited to be here. I'm in the cuevita.
En la cuevita.
Yes, I made it.
In the studio.
In the studio.
And we've been planning this for a while, but logistics get in the way.
Yeah, logistics. Logistics, aka your studio's in Kendall, and I live far.
Yeah. Well, far Miami Beach. It's not like you live in Broward.
No, listen.
No.
Can we just get this out of the way? So I'm a Broward girl, true and true.
Yeah.
And I used to always have friends who were from Miami, and they'd be like, "Ay, but you live in Broward." I know, I can't visit. It's too far.
Oh, we say that all the time.
And I'm like, I never really got it until I moved to Miami. And I'm like, if my parents didn't live there, I don't know how often I'd be up, especially in North Broward. But I get it now.
Yeah. But you know what, though?
It's the traffic, not the distance.
It's like driving to Orlando, Vanessa. I'm like, relax.
Right, but the thing about Broward is that Broward mentally is further away than what it is. Because
it's very mentally
especially if you live in the beach or in downtown.
Yeah. Right.
My parents are from Kendall, and when I lived downtown, my parents would be like, "Oh my God, you're going to Broward." I'm like, "Mom, Broward is 24 miles away.
Yeah.
Our house is 22 miles away, going west.
Yes.
Broward is 25 going north.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but mentally, it's the I-95 that kills it.
It is, and it's all the traffic.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Traffic
Do
does
we
not
know
help.
yet, guys, where all the people are coming from with all this traffic? Narnia.
It's just a big wardrobe somewhere. It's just,
Right.
Yeah.
But we discussed the other day that because it's South Florida, it's not a wardrobe, it's un escaparate. That's what Cubans call it, un escaparate. They don't say a wardrobe. Anyway, so thank you so much for being here. We hope we have a lot of fun with this. And it's funny because I
will say I just love the fact because you do voiceover.
I do,
and I love that you're just one more in our continued long line of inviting guests who sound better than we do.
Okay.
on recording because it's like we've had Lucy Lopez, we've had Louis Aguirre, we've had Boris Sanchez. I mean, we really just like bringing people on who make us sound bad.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, really, it's about them. It's not about us.
It is.
So it's
It is.
You've had royalty. You had Miami radio and TV royalty on.
We have. Yes, we have.
Amazing.
And we are continuing that with you.
Yes. Yes.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. And Lucy was our guest, and then she's every time we're out, we could because that's the thing. We never miss an episode. Our episodes, as they're every week.
Yeah.
And if something comes up with one of us, we do co-hosts.
Oh, okay. I love it.
Because, we got to give
all about consistency.
Yes. It's funny that people always ask us, oh, what's the best advice you have for a podcast?
Yeah.
And we always tell them that consistency.
Yeah.
How many podcasts do you like that it's like, okay, are they having an episode next week?
Yeah,
or they go away for months and then they come back? And
people need the pero.
Yeah, the pero. I like that. People need the pero. I like that.
That's
I like
a t-shirt.
That. So
that's a t-shirt.
So how is everybody? How was everybody's week this week?
I think everybody's doing good.
We're a Broward girl. And one of the things that we've talked about a few times here, but I think even being from Broward, you would appreciate this, or from Broward originally. How long have you been living in Miami City proper?
City proper.
Or Miami-Dade County?
Miami-Dade County taxes have been being paid since 2014.
Okay, so it's been 10 years.
It's a great
but again,
barometer.
But you were from South Florida to begin with. So Broward is the same metropolitan area. As much as we like to talk about Broward
marketing-wise,
County,
it's the same DMA.
Right. It's the same metropolitan area,
South
so whatever.
Florida.
Yes. So what is your take? Because it's something we struggle with all the time,
Okay.
and we've talked about here on the show before. What is your take on all this influx from up north to Miami?
Well, I thought they were going to just come. They obviously flocked here from all walks of the earth during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And we thought, okay, great. You came, you had your fill,
Right.
and now you're out. They never left. They mean everybody. It's not one particular license plate. It's everyone. Every license plate everywhere. I just saw Guam.
Guam?
I saw Guam in Miami Beach.
My first instinct was like, they have cars in Guam.
They have cars in Guam. And also Hawaii, cars are here, which is really strange to me. So, I mean, here's the thing. I am all about, arms wide open, come one, come all, bring your flavor, bring your sauce, bring your stuff. But two things. One, when the traffic becomes unbearable, like we're officially there. We're officially LA, New York status traffic-wise. Like, it's insane. If I didn't plan to come here today and leave where I was in the Gables at 3 o'clock, I was like, okay, how am I going to get here in time for the show? That's how bad traffic has gotten. But the second thing is, I do think that with all of that, it has kind of driven out some of the local South Florida people who are used to, who have really like culturally made the places in Broward, Wynwood, all of those places really, special. Mm-hmm. It's driven them out because of the rising rents. It's like a thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know that. And I do think that it's kind of had its negative effect. We've had amazing restaurants come in. I've swiped the card at a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And an influx of a lot of awesome new culture, but also it sucks like when you live on Miami Beach to see how many people can't afford to live there that work there, that clean the hotels and you know what I'm saying, and clean and take care of us, at all the bars and restaurants, but they have to drive all the way west at home, and that's what's making the traffic bad because you've made their rent so unbearable. So, of course, every city has their thing, but I don't know if we could ever get like a metro rail to and from the beach, but something is needed because the traffic is insane, and it's not just a beach thing. Because getting to Kendall,
it's both ways.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
both
I think if
ease
the
and
Metro
loss.
Rail ever went anywhere useful,
Yeah.
I would plots. Like I would, it would be like, you know what? And the next day is the apocalypse. Like that's
Exactly.
just
It's funny. I ask you that because again, we've talked about that here on the show. But just today, I was scrolling, on Instagram as one does, and there was this girl. I showed him the
way you
video
showed me,
before we started recording. That she's like, "Oh, here are the top 5 neighborhoods in Miami," and the third one she mentioned was Coconut Grove, and she was saying, Coconut Grove is very up and coming, and I'm like, woman, Coconut Grove was Coconut Grove before Miami was incorporated in 1896. Like, what are you talking about? Bahamians have been in Coconut Grove since like
they built. By the way, shout out to all the Bahamians listening, because you guys and your ancestors and your grandpas built Miami.
Yes.
Like the physical structures, the 95, all the things.
They are the OGs here.
They are
really
the OGs here
Legit.
who never get enough credit. So shout out to all my Goombay fans.
I think it's like the natives and then the Bahamians.
Yes. So true.
And just when you see stuff like that or you hear stuff like that from like these influencers, it's like really infuriating because you're erasing sort of the work that has been done before you. And
200%.
As we know, South Florida was built on immigration, but what was that? Everybody that came here contributed something to the culture. And I don't see that with all the influx of like whether it's New Yorkers or, as you said, everybody else that came down here.
What did I tell you about the other day? That I met somebody. We're talking. Oh, where are you from? I'm like, oh, I'm a Miami boy. And she's like, oh, you're like a unicorn. There's hardly any of you here. And I was like, yes, there is.
There is.
And she's like, no, there is. No, it's very rare. I'm like, not really. She's like, yeah. And I was like, literally all my family, all my friends, all from here. And as I kept talking to her, she's like, no, because 20 years ago I came here, and my first apartment was in Brickell, and I'm like, I found the problem.
Yeah.
There you go.
Your first apartment was Brickell?
Because you didn't, because she never lived in Miami proper, quote unquote, right?
Yeah.
Like she kind of just showed up in Brickell, which is very transient.
It's very transient.
And that's all she knows. Yeah. So now that's like that 6-block radius.
That's her
is Miami.
bandwidth of Miami. That's wild.
I never ever like engage with people on Instagram in terms of dialogue back and forth, like arguing. I just don't. I'm
Yeah,
like,
no.
you can't. But every now and then,
I was gonna say
When
he's
you
kind
have
of lying.
time.
every now and then, there was this guy who I don't need to name him, but he's like a big influencer
Okay.
about the whole New York, come down to South Florida and make millions of
Yes.
dollars and this and that, like that type of stuff. And I was like, today's the day.
Yeah.
Today is the
I
day
have
that-
time today.
Today is the day that this is going down. And
what'd you say?
He was saying, because he posted a video, and then of course all the yes men in the video were like, yeah, bro, yeah. He was like, oh, the first time I came to
I
Miami
know exactly who you're talking about.
was in 2008, 2009.
You probably
And
commented on that video
and
too.
everything was boarded up. And
I
is it the
know
same one?
exactly who you're talking about.
And he's like, oh, and everything was boarded up. And I'm like, okay, no.
No.
This is where I'm stopping what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I did this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be passive on.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sorry, but I've lived here practically all my life. And Miami has gone through bad times like any other
course.
city. Miami has never gone through a situation where it was boarded up.
No.
Because in the 08, 09, that the whole country was going through the foreclosure
Of course.
crisis, including Miami. Miami got hit really hard.
Yeah.
All those houses that people were losing in foreclosure, there were investors buying them up immediately in the courthouse. And I know because I used to do foreclosure defense at that time.
And I know because my mom was a realtor at that time, and people were like selling their houses for nothing, trying to
Right.
get, just to avoid short sale.
Right. So it wasn't a situation
Yeah.
that houses were being boarded up.
No.
So then I said
So
that.
he came and he's our savior. He fixed
Yes,
it. Yeah.
yes.
Got
And
it.
now,
Who knew?
and now he's like, oh, Miami's like out next to LA. So I said that to him. Being a native, I have receipts. And he's like, oh, it was boarded up. I'm like, no, it wasn't.
What block were you on?
And we went back and forth.
Like in the one block.
We
Yeah,
went
the
back
one
and
block.
forth, and then the dialogue turned into like, listen, if we welcome people from
Of
everywhere,
course.
but you need to understand that Miami is much more than east of I-95.
Have you seen it's a viral clip. I don't remember I don't remember the personality's name, but he's being interviewed and she's asking him a question. She's like, "Oh, but where you're from?" She goes, "Oh, you're from Florida, right?" He goes, "No."
Oh yeah,
I'm from Miami.
Yes.
She goes, "No, but in Florida." He goes, "No, but I'm from Miami. I'm from Dade County."
Yes.
You know what
Yes.
I'm saying?
Yes.
So
Yes.
we are so prideful, and it's
We
not
love
just a
that
Dade
guy.
County. Yes, a Dade County thing, but like South Florida thing. It doesn't matter. I'm from Trinidad originally.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing, came up at 2 years old to the USVI and then to South Florida. And I've been, this is my place. I've gone away and come back, and this is home. As soon as I see the port,
Yeah.
you're flying in, I'm like, home. It doesn't
Home,
matter where
home.
I went. Home. So that's
Yeah.
how I know. So we're very prideful about our city, about our county. And when I be ready to throw hands when people want to talk about Miami. Come on, what's up?
Especially when people are like, Florida as a state hasn't had a great track record
Yes.
recently. That I'm like, yes, that's Florida, but we're
Yes,
Miami.
we're
South
Miami, we're
Florida.
different.
It's different.
Yes.
But I went back and forth with this guy, and I'm like, listen, like cuisine, you have to understand the culture and the melting pot that is food in cuisine in Miami and where people eat. And he's like, well, me and my friends, we eat at Carbone all the time, and I'm like, really? Carbone, a New York
We
restaurant?
love Carbone. It's delicious. I will rub the spicy rigatoni on my body.
Yes.
It's that good. But it doesn't mean that it's not a Miami native restaurant.
Right. It's
you
a
know?
restaurant that is like New York. Like,
Yeah.
that is the point of the restaurant.
You might as well say that you love that Chicago cuisine from McDonald's.
Yeah. Well, that's not the same as Carbone.
But I'm saying, like,
No, I
you're
know
talking
what you
about
mean.
something
I feel you.
that is not of a place, right?
Of
Like,
course,
you
of
know?
course.
Yeah, so
Now you gotta have Mario calling you like, excuse me, you talking shit about Carbone on your podcast?
I mean, listen,
Well,
if
then
they
he's
want to
gonna have
invite
to
us
invite
over
us.
to
He's gonna
Carbone,
invite you over.
I mean, I love the spicy rigatoni too.
Listen, the spicy rigatoni is where it's at. I'm not shout out to Carbone. I'm sorry.
It has some witchcraft in it.
It does. There's something going on in there. I
Yeah,
don't
for
know.
sure.
There's something going on.
There's something going on in the back
Yeah,
that we
yeah.
can't see because
Well,
it's really
I
that
mean,
good.
it is Miami. It's probably just some
Miami.
Santeria.
Yeah,
Oh.
probably. By the way, so Marcos and I, my fiance, were driving to Brickell yesterday, and we just finished talking about Brickell, but we're driving to Brickell to go have dinner, and we pass by it, and we're stopping, and it's right there at the end of Miami Ave when you take not the 395. I don't know what that. I think it's the Miami Ave exit after 395. You come down, and you're getting ready to go like to the little fairway before the bridge. There's 3 roosters
Oh yeah.
chilling.
Oh yeah.
They're not in traffic, but they're there. And they're not crossing. They're just chilling. People are throwing food out the window to them. And this is very commonplace for Miami and clearly very commonplace for the roosters because they're like, this is what we do.
Yeah.
And I mean, straight. I'm looking and I'm like, wait a minute. I actually have the video. Is it roosters? And I'm looking. Wait, there's roosters, and the music's playing. I feel like the roosters were dancing. It was a whole scene.
Yeah,
it's very Miami.
If you know, you know. It's very Miami.
Yeah.
And it's. I mean, look, every city has their thing. New York has a million different. I feel New York is a living and walking meme.
Yeah.
So is Miami. But again, you're gonna move here from somewhere else. Like, look, I went to school up in the Midwest in Michigan, and I was right by Detroit. I left Michigan that I could give tours on the city of Detroit because I was living by there. So I wanted to really learn the culture and the history and what made it what it made it. And I have books and books on it. And because I feel that if you're going to live someplace else, you got to learn the culture and what it meant to other people that were there before you.
And embrace and appreciate it.
Not, I'm not going west of the I-95 corridor. What is Westchester?
Yeah.
What is Kendall?
Well, they probably think Westchester's the one in New York.
Yeah, it's definitely been gentrified a lot, and to the point where it is kind of sad though.
It is
to drive through Wynwood, and now you're like, wait,
I know.
So that used to be the most amazing bar on a Sunday night. You used to be able to go and just grab beer and just hang, and and now there's a skyrise there.
Yeah.
And there, and that's what's kind of wild. I think you really see the change in Wynwood.
What worries me the most is Hialeah and Alapata and Little Haiti.
Very much.
Little Haiti, because Little Haiti, especially, you're talking about people that their great grandparents bought that house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And now, it's all about the land elevation.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were a little bit higher than the rest of the city. And it's getting gentrified a mile a minute, and nobody is stopping it. And so is Alapata. Have you been to Hialeah recently?
No.
Hialeah is getting high rises.
Well, wait. I heard what?
Yes.
I heard that I know of that warehouse district in Hialeah where they wanted to rename it Little Brooklyn or and the Hialeahans. Do you remember that?
Yeah. So what happened is that they were building a condo community, 10, 12 stories. And the way they advertised it online and in their stuff was that everybody down here calls it the New Brooklyn.
The New Brooklyn.
And that you can walk to Coral Gables.
No.
Será el mismo Hialeah que yo conozco, because that is
that's a long walk. That's fine.
I mean, technically you can, but
take you a couple hours. Yeah. But no, I just remember how much that was rejected. Absolutely not. We love Brooklyn, but this ain't it.
No, yeah.
No.
Brooklyn is Brooklyn.
Brooklyn is Brooklyn for a reason. So.
Listen, we knew things were changing when they finally put that Starbucks on Calle Ocho in Little Havana. Yeah. It's no. I like my Starbucks. I got the app.
Of course.
But you don't belong here.
Yeah. Yeah.
In this little stretch.
Yeah,
that's all,
keep some things, local.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Well, I think it's done a really good job with that. I mean, I know you guys don't venture to Broward too much, but in Broward, so City of Lauderhill, they have, it's very Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Lots of different Caribbean cultures there, Haitian, Jamaican, Bahamian. And so they have an entire new strip. If you drive down there on 441 and Sunrise Boulevard and a little bit north to Oakland Park, it looks like Little Caribbean. So all the houses are in different colors. I'm talking about on the main street.
Yeah.
All the businesses, and they kind of made it this Caribbean, let's say boulevard. But it's really cute. So I feel like when a city wants to embrace the people that live there, they know how to do it.
Of course.
When there's investors that don't care about the people that live there, it's very epic.
And build
and
generic,
that's what has happened to Wynwood.
Yeah. Generic high rises.
Absolutely.
No, absolutely.
That, by the way, we were driving out of Brickell yesterday, and so many say for rent, in those giant $50,000 a month high rises that apparently no one can afford to rent.
Mm-hmm. Right. Because everybody's like, let's build. That's great. And who's going to live there?
Who's going to live there?
Because we were just talking about all these waiters, they can't afford it.
Yeah.
So they're living,
hostesses, they can't. Yeah.
Unless it's 5 people.
Yeah. And then it is going to be like Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So then, fair point.
So then, now we're back to Brooklyn. Yes. Full circle.
Now that you mentioned earlier that you're originally from Trinidad and Tobago, and that your husband is Cuban.
Mm-hmm.
So you're the perfect person to talk about this, because I've actually wanted to talk about this for a while. There's people who have a hard time believing that Caribbean culture is a thing.
Have they not spoken to me? Have they not ever met me or hello, hi?
Because you know what? Sometimes, us Cubans, we got a rap for being a little bit having certain exceptionalism, which we do.
Just
Well,
a
we
touch.
do. That we think, we're better than everybody, which we
I wouldn't even say it's better. They're just like, oh, there's other Spanish cultures that exist. Oh, there's other countries.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, islands in the Caribbean that exist.
Yes,
Yeah.
a little bit of that.
Hi, guys, yes.
But, usually you will hear from like Cubans, Dominicans, and Puerto Ricans,
Sure.
right? But there's a lot more Caribbean in
hi.
there. So that's why like I think you're a perfect person to talk to about this.
Mm-hmm.
I explain to people a lot of time, usually the Anglo folk, that I'm like, listen, people from the Caribbean, yes, most of us are Latin and we share a lot of common values with like Latin America, but Caribbean culture is very, very different.
Yes.
From the food to how we speak to just different things. So
But let me stop you, DJ. Most of us are not Latin in the Caribbean. One, two. There's Puerto Rico. There's the DR. There's Cuba, but then there's like 27 other islands that make up the 41 million people that live in the Caribbean. Hello, I'm going to put on my Trinidadian accent for you, NET, and let you know that it is very multicultural and it is a plethora of I'm very passionate about Caribbean culture.
Yes. See, I asked the right person.
You asked the right person, though. Come with that. No. I say that to say that I am so prideful about Caribbean culture, and I do feel like, unlike anywhere else in the world, as many different places as I've traveled, if I go to Cuba, the DR, Suriname, Trinidad, Guyana, Barbados, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Martin, and you hopscotch the Caribbean, I feel like I'm literally hanging with my cousins. We all are basically, populated at those islands at different times, but there's so much interconnectivity between people that are of the Caribbean. It's the weirdest, most amazing thing.
It is. That's what I try to tell people.
Very similar in our food, in our customs, in our culture, in our carnival. So I love that. Like even Cuba has a carnival. I just found this out.
Yeah.
Huge carnival.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
But that's what I'm saying. That like I think that for us, I certainly feel more commonality with the Caribbean culture than in our case, since we are also Latin, with the Latin culture.
Gotcha.
We're always late.
We love a nice scotching agua de coco, coconut water. That's how we break the ice.
We can't be too far from the ocean.
Wait, I got a good one. We say that the party is just a few people.
Oh, yeah.
And then the baby shower is 70 people. I'll never forget going to Marcos's. We had just started dating. And he's like, come meet the family. A year later, come meet the family. And then I go meet the family. He's like, it's
intimate gathering.
Yeah, intimate gathering. I get there, full band, DJ, and about 45 people for a baby shower. I'm like, this is how y'all Cubans roll? We are family. Let's go. Because it feels like, okay, it feels like home. It's very, and they love it. Because for now all the Cubans are like, when's your mom's next party? Because my dad is in a band. Ooh. He loves paranda. And so my family has a lot of Venezuelan roots as well. And paranda is a really big thing. In Trinidad, they call it parang, and it's called paranda in a lot of the other islands. Well, he's 70 and decided that he wanted to start a band. And
that's now one does at 70. Good for him.
Exactly. And so now it's become this whole big thing. And again, it's a small gathering. It's a small line, but it's 125 people, parked all around the neighborhood.
But in our defense, that's just first cousins.
It's just first cousins.
125 is just first cousins.
And they're plus ones.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So it is intimate in that sense.
Super intimate. No, but I love that. I honestly love that about us. And it doesn't matter where you go in the world. Like, Caribbean people are really special. We have to give, that's why we vibe.
And we have great food.
We do.
Yeah, nothing is small.
No.
And we take 2 hours to say goodbye.
Yeah, we do. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. So good to see you.
There's a process. You announce that you're going to say goodbye. Then you get up. Then the kitchen. And then the door. The door is the one that takes the longest. You're by the door, like whatever, talking. Yeah.
And then don't forget something. You have to go back inside.
Right, yes. And then you go back inside. And then, we start the process all over again.
Oh my gosh.
And that's why we're always late to places, because we cannot leave.
And you know what? Like, you did a really good job of describing it, probably better than I did, because when I talk to people that are not Caribbean, it's very hard for me to describe, you know, because the Caribbean is so different but similar at the same time that I'm like, no, it's Caribbean culture.
Yeah.
What is Caribbean culture? I'm like, Caribbean culture, you know?
Well, for instance, like let's think about our adoration and love, unlike any other place, I would say, besides Africa. Our love for platanos.
Yes.
Our love for maduros.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, it doesn't matter if you're Cuban, Dominican, from St. Lucia, Barbados, Tobago, your love for plantain. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
I never thought about that.
Think about
that-
our connectivity alone through plátano maduro.
I think that is going to be when somebody's like, what is Caribbean culture? I'm like, we love plátanos.
No, but collectively, our love for plátanos. Like when you say plátano, you're like, okay, plantain, fried plantain, then you just smile. Because
Yes.
it's like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
In all its forms, in all its glory.
It doesn't matter. And don't talk shit about it. Yeah.
It's a very versatile.
Can we cuss here? I didn't
Absolutely.
know.
We can,
I
we
wasn't
can.
sure. Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, coconuts,
And
as you know.
I'm very affectionate about coconut as well, for many reasons.
And there's so it's also
External
funny,
joke.
which I think it's also a Caribbean thing that you make like a mermelada or like candied or like dessert out of like fruit, like
Oh, yes.
oranges or
yeah.
like citrus.
Oh, yeah.
And like
Tambrin.
yes, tamarindo.
Ahorita del domingo. Yes.
Yeah, it's all those things that when you sit down and talk about them and you list them, it's like this is very distinctly
Yes.
Caribbean.
Yeah.
It's
I
very
think for a long time too, DJ, I used to maybe, growing up and trying to assimilate to become American. I always, I mean, you could not be prideful about being Caribbean in my household because it was like, that's what it was. It was put some respect on our Caribbean culture.
Yeah.
But also wanting to assimilate, maybe I lost a little bit of that like in my teens and going away to college and all that. And then when I refound it, I remember being at Florida State and like somebody, there was a CSA. I'm like, wait a minute, they're playing reggae and soca? And those are my people. And reggaeton? Let me go over there with those people. So you find your people no matter where you go.
so that's exactly my trajectory.
Yeah. He went through the exact same.
Did
thing.
you?
I
Yes.
rejected being Cuban, being Latin, Caribbean, whatever, most of my teenage and early adult life.
Right.
I rejected it because I always felt like I remember on TV, I would watch sitcoms, in the 80s and early
Yeah.
90s. And I'm like, that's not my family.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because there was no representation of us.
we don't
Yeah.
we don't eat that, we don't talk like that. So I don't know if maybe that's why, but I really felt it. I didn't feel it when I went to Michigan
Yeah,
for law school.
you felt it.
I was like, wait. I was like telling everybody I'm Cuban.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
And don't let them try to tell you anything else.
and then when you would
Yeah.
find not even other Cubans, just whether it's Caribbean folk, anybody, it's like you. Oh
Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
You're,
All of a sudden, you find your folk.
you're not Anglo.
Yes.
Like yeah. Oh my
Yes.
God.
Yes.
Let's be best friends.
Yes.
Like
You just bonded.
and it really.
Yeah.
Yes, I went through the same thing. That I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not that.
Yeah.
I don't need to assimilate. Yeah, no.
That's when you realized you're not white.
Yes.
Yes.
Wait, what did the other day when it said we said something really funny? It was like I knew I wasn't white when what was it? It's almost here.
You mean?
Yep, our favorite tradition is back. The fair. It starts March 14th through April 7th.
Yes. Okay, and this year's theme is space venture. And I've seen the new ride called the X Drive. Bro, that thing is like the kamikaze on steroids.
Oh yeah, that's pretty insane. And of course, there's the exhibits and new shows this year like the Amazing Bubble Factory and Space Adventure Thrill Show.
Okay. Rides, exhibits, shows. I mean, that's all good, but we know what our Pero Primos want to hear about.
The
Food.
Dale, what can we look forward to?
Okay, are you ready? Korean corn dog, cinnamon roll sundae, banana cream pie nachos, elote sundae, Angela's pineapple and guava pizza, cheeseburger on a stick, buffalo chicken fries, and more.
Coño. Wow. Oye, new rides, shows, and food. Visit fairexpo.com to get entrance and ride tickets. Then enjoy them all at the fair from March 14th through April 7th, okay? You know we gotta say it. Be there,
the fair. Oh God, I don't know.
There's a few.
He's the one with the good memory, and if you don't remember, then estamos mal. Like,
that I didn't like A&W root beer.
oh yes,
Oh.
yes, root beer, root beer.
Because I remember when I went up in
I like
Michigan.
cream soda though.
When I went up in Michigan, they had like the A&W shops, and I'm
it was a
like,
big
I am
deal.
going to like root beer. And I remember I'm like, I don't.
Just try. Now, what about the floats? Because they're big on the floats up there with the ice cream and the root beer. Yeah, no.
I mean, Cubans do. I don't know if anybody else does. Una malta preparada.
Okay.
Which is una malta.
Una malta.
With condensed milk.
Okay. But
Right.
y'all put condensed milk in everything.
Yeah, it's bad.
My gosh.
Yeah,
that's bad.
Yeah. How more of us don't have diabetes is a mystery.
Yeah.
Like from the womb, I mean.
Isn't it always great to hear un americano trying to say dulce de leche?
I have that. The dulce de leche.
It pisses me off on Food Network because they always say dulce de leche. And
have
I'm
a
like,
very-
pick a language.
Yeah.
It's either dolce, which is Italian, which means that
Yes.
then it's dulce de latte,
Yes.
or it's dulce de leche.
Yes.
Stop it.
Figure it out.
And you people are the experts.
Yes. Well, you claim to be.
Yeah, you claim to be. Like,
Yeah.
somebody gave you a show.
Yeah. I get super passionate, let's say, about that because so much so that I created a food and wine experience down here because I'm like, wait a minute, where are all the amazing Caribbean chefs? Mm-hmm. You never see them, but you have somebody else on TV telling us how to make our own jerk chicken. Mm-hmm. That's wild to me. Or seeing people, wait a minute, so you guys are making congri?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm not saying you have to be Cuban to throw down in the kitchen and make a good congri, but and then they want to throw parsley in there, and celery.
That's the thing.
That's the thing.
That's
and
the
then say,
thing.
this is how you do it.
Yes.
And so I get really passionate about that.
Yeah.
That's a really delicate way of putting it, isn't
Yes.
it? And it's
Trying to be
funny because
delicate.
that can be so easily remedied because you could say, this is inspired by X cuisine.
Or you could just actually bring someone from that background on television and let them show you how to make it.
Or that, or that. And if you're going to make it exactly how it is. Not
Because
with
look at how much Mexican food has been gentrified. Mm-hmm. Honestly.
Yeah.
Everybody knows how to make tacos better than the Mexicans. And I'm like, really? Yeah. No, you don't.
You
You
don't.
know?
It's funny because we talk about that here too, that it's just really annoying when people think that because you speak Spanish, you're Mexican.
Right.
And I'm like, that's double offensive. It's
And
offensive.
it's lazy.
It is.
Yeah.
It's offensive to be called Mexican if you're not Mexican, and it's offensive if you're Mexican that they're dumbing down your culture.
Yes.
Such a rich culture.
Very rich.
That people just think Mexican culture are, Taco Bell and tableside guacamole.
Yeah. And Chipotle now.
And Chipotle. I mean,
Yeah.
really?
if you're fancy.
Premium.
And it's funny,
Right.
it's bad that we're sort of laughing at that, but there are people who really think that's
But
authentic.
that's crazy. And that's lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Meanwhile, the next time you put together one of those experiences that you were just talking about.
It's May 18th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Okay, so
I'll tell you about it.
Go to VanessaJamesMedia.com.
It's called Food, Wine, and Fete. And it is specifically celebrating Caribbean chefs, Caribbean culture, because it's just not being done.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And you're coming, right?
We need to, well, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
I'll send you details.
I mean, I'm gonna move our pop up. Yeah.
move your
Yeah.
pop up.
Yeah. Listen, it'd be nice to go sample somebody else's food
you
as
go.
opposed to being over our own.
There you go.
We
There you go.
do guava and cheese wings.
Wait, what? You do?
Yeah, we do guava and cheese wings with bean pan pollo.
Where do you do this?
This is our side gig.
I need details.
Yeah, so we
Seriously?
we have pop-ups for chicken wings,
Okay.
and we have a few flavors, but our signature flavor is guayaba y queso.
Okay.
It's a take on a pastelito de guayaba.
Okay, pero it's a wing?
It's a wing. It's in a guava glaze.
Okay, we
and
got
then
to figure out how to
I
get
did
you
a-
Food, Wine, and Fete because people would die over that.
I did a queso crema dipping sauce. Yeah.
But is the wing like a dessert?
So the wing is double. So I fry the wing Korean style, so it's double
Okay,
fried.
yum.
So it's like batter, very crispy. Then I did a guava glaze, which has, as I always say, that guava glaze has 14 ingredients.
Wow.
Because it's complex.
Yeah.
And then you dip it in a queso crema dipping sauce.
Wow.
To have a take. And then we were a couple of weeks ago. We were at the South Beach Food and Wine Festival.
saw.
And we
You were not just at the Sobe Food and Wine Festival. You were the Sobe Food and Wine Festival because it was a takeover. It was a let me tell you takeover.
It was a lot of work.
I know.
The night
I'm still tired.
The night we
Yeah.
did them, we did a deconstructed pastelito. So we had the wing, the cheese, and then like a puff pastry.
I love
so it was
it.
a deconstructed.
So
pastelito.
wait, so you're podcasters, full-time day job, and you're chefs as well.
Yep.
Yes.
And he's got a kid.
Yes.
Okay, and a dog. Named
Yeah,
Nate.
so it's a lot. It's a lot.
I love this, though.
And then we also have other flavors. Like we have a white Alabama barbecue sauce that we named it Santero.
Oh my god.
If you know, you know.
It's a religious experience.
Oh my gosh.
So we try to keep it a little
love
local and
it.
stuff like that. So
Yeah. The naked wing is called the Hallover.
Love it.
But that's definite. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
So you got to try those. I think you'll like them.
So where's your pop-up?
So we pop up. We save from Wynwood to West Kendall and everywhere in between.
And you just pop up like.
And we do Broward too.
Oh,
we
okay,
do
Broward. Listen up, Broward.
We do Brillahan,
Okay.
which is a mead place up in Broward by Oakland.
Yeah.
Oakland
Okay.
Boulevard.
I love it.
We go there at least once a month.
Okay.
So
I love this. I need to come try your wings. It's
you
happening.
do.
I will
You
let
do.
you know.
Let me know.
I will let you know. I got you.
Okay.
But let's talk about you though, because you know,
Okay.
like we've hinted at it, and it's like if you just listed off all the things that we do,
Mm-hmm.
but like recognizes like, because girl, you do a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
you
I am from the Caribbean, and you know how we like to have a lot of jobs.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yes,
we
it's not-
we can't be lounging about.
No, it's not a stereotype. Like I love being busy, clearly. So, but I started in Miami radio. I used to be programming and on the air at 103.5 The Beat for some time. Shout out to my girl Lucy Lopez, who was at Power for a long time. So we're radio girls. I know she's always on your show, co-hosting. And then my station flipped in 2010, and that's when I decided, you know what, I'm going to start my own company because I was already doing some freelance work. So I started Vanessa James Media. That turned into radio imaging stations around the country, which is now 40 stations.
Nice.
And then I do voiceover full time now. So that's about 60% of my mixed bag of media. And I voiced really cool things I did Michelle Obama's, it's called Ada Twist Scientist, a children's series on Netflix.
Oh.
The Tamron Hall Show. I
The
do
Tamron Hall Show, yes.
promo work for that. CBS Superfan, The Masked Singer, like really cool, amazing.
Wow,
Yeah.
congrats.
Thank
That's
you.
a
So
pretty good resume.
thank you. So aside from that, I also host events. I also do a lot of on-camera work, and I'm crazy enough to do to curate events too. So I do 3 signature events here in South Florida. VJ Media Mixology, which I don't know how you guys never came to that because it was all about celebrating creatives. I didn't do it. I haven't done it since the pandemic, but it was all about celebrating creatives and in all walks of media. So you should be there at the next one, which is happening this fall. We have a lot to be invited to.
We're in touch now. That we're gonna know about
We're in
everything.
touch. It's official. It's official.
Yeah.
And then I do a dinner series and I do Food, Wine, and Fat. So it's like a love letter to female entrepreneurs, to people in media, and to my Caribbean community. That's what I do.
And we're the busy ones?
I didn't say that I do it alone. I finally decided to hire people, and in my life, I'm able to actually function as a human being now because I believe in assistance. It's like the best thing ever to be able to hire people. So
Okay, we need to
That's
get
our
there.
goal.
Yeah,
We need
do
to get
that.
there.
That's the goal.
Yes.
That's the goal. Yes.
Yes.
No, but I gotta say, like, I am in awe of you because I the one thing we always celebrate on the show is people who've just kind of created their own work, right?
Yeah.
Like that they've made themselves.
They made their own lane.
They made their own
Yeah.
lane, and it's so fascinating to meet people like yourself for that reason alone of just like, damn, how do you do it, right? But also, it's that inspiration of like, it's gonna sound a little glib, but it's like if you can do it, I can do
Yeah.
it, right? Like maybe not 17 different things like you are, but I can do 5.
a lot of coladas.
Okay. Well, there you go. So we're already halfway there.
Yeah.
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 But it's just so. I think it's fucking awesome. Like,
Thank you so
honestly,
much.
and
I appreciate
I
that.
celebrate that, and I celebrate you. Like,
Thank you so
I-
much.
you're-
Sometimes you're like, okay, does anybody notice? You're doing all these things, but then you realize it's really not about them noticing. It's you doing it because you love it and because you
Right,
want
right.
that's what you want your stamp and your legacy to be. And so that's what's, for whatever reason, I just started doing things and all of a sudden more things started coming my way. And then brands started going, wait, I want to be a part of that thing that you're doing. So that's
It also
where we're
helps
at.
that you have a really good voice.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
No, but you have very good energy. I remember
Thank
when
you.
I first started noticing you on social media.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, she has really good energy,
Cute.
which, on social media just...
that alone. That
It's
alone.
awful.
No, social media.
I always joke around with him. I look a lot at posts of food.
Yeah?
I got a lot of ideas
Okay.
and all that, and I'm like, man, the comment section in food is
Yes.
so horrible, horrible.
People are mean about food.
and it's
For
like
no reason.
I'm like, it's food. It's food. Like why? It's just And
They better not be talking about them guava wings.
No, we've been very lucky.
No,
Okay.
they know better.
We've been very, very lucky.
They know better. We'll take names and shame them.
Okay.
So because you are the media mogul that you are, this past week it was the Oscars.
Yes.
And the week before we talked about on the show if the Oscars were still relevant, if you will. And people always make that comment about award shows in general, but I feel the Oscars, because it's like, I guess, the biggest award show,
Hollywood's
biggest night, it gets the most scrutiny.
Yeah.
Whether they're not nominating the right people or the right people winning, from what you're wearing, just everything. So what's your take on something like the Oscars? Do you think that it's still relevant? It's sort of correcting past mistakes, or we just need to burn it down?
Okay, so here's the thing. So as a voiceover actor, I think one of every VO actor's dream, who's specifically in the areas and buckets that I do, which is live announced voice of God, which is Oscars, promo, radio imaging, commercial. I mean, it's a goal to like voice the Oscars. So I pay attention to like those award shows and all of that all the time. I will say though that award shows kind of have gotten a little bit stale. In the 90s and 2000s, like when it was MTV Awards, we would literally, it was like, it was planned Thursday night. This is what we're watching. This is what we're doing.
Thursday nights.
Yes. Yep. Thursdays. Yep. And now I feel like maybe, we're kind of outgrowing it. Also, this new generation doesn't necessarily appreciate, the work, the Hollywoodness of it all, maybe that we did. I also think that maybe there's some old heads at the Oscars that don't want to retire. And so
that's probably a little bit of that too.
Knowing a few of those producers, I just feel like at the end of the day, there needs to be more representation, more fresh blood, more fresh creative eyes across all walks of media, because that's what's lacking. We need a Latina executive producer at the Oscars. Show me that. And what does that look and, feel and sound like, that type of thing. And so I think that the Oscars does have a long way to go. I do believe that's the one like sacred part of award shows in Hollywood that they have a very tight grip on keeping that circle tight, if that makes sense. So that's why you continue to see the same hosts, because it's the same agents booking the hosts. It's it's the Academy. The Academy is made up of a lot of the same people. And so when you do have breakout stars who win, like a Viola Davis, people notice, when, oh my gosh, what is her name that just won last year? Oh my gosh, she's so amazing. She's Latina. She's Afro-Latina. She's she's gay. She's fabulous.
Ariana
DeBose.
Yeah.
So like when actors like that step up and they win, that's, I mean, for me, it's like, okay, we can see ourselves being a part of that, and you feel seen. So, I mean, when you don't feel seen, you don't pay attention, and you move on to other things that you feel seen.
And there's so many more options nowadays.
And there's so many more options. So, hey, Oscars, if you're listening, you might want to diversify, because now there's a lot of options of things for us to do that, whereas like prior, it was appointment watching. Appointment listening, where there was nothing. It was Oscar night,
Yeah.
Joan, like that era of Joan Rivers.
I do miss that.
Yes,
a little bit.
I do. Those red carpet moments.
Joan Rivers couldn't.
No.
Nobody could touch her.
No, but she wouldn't be allowed on that red carpet today.
Oh, I know. And all the glamour, like, of course it's still there. And obviously, I'm very also cognizant there's a lot of hardworking people behind the scenes that you never see. So Oscars ratings going down affects a lot of people's work.
Sure.
Right.
So I hope it continues to thrive. I just want them to diversify. They need to.
I mean, I always watch the Oscars because I'm a movie buff. So I just think that, whenever you hear of criticisms of the Oscars, like not nominating more people of color or all that, I think it's a very fair criticism. But I always go back to the movies. I'm like, this is because not more movies are being made of people of color or LGBT people or so on and so forth.
But is it that they're not being made, or is it like the Bob Marley movie that went like viral because it was so good and it was so well done that just premiered and like
it was number one,
office, right?
Yeah.
Is it ever going to win an Oscar? So is it that they're
it's
not
the chicken or the egg?
No, it's not that they're being made. Is that they're not being recognized enough?
Right.
So
yeah. I mean, I think it's a lot of different things.
Yes.
A lot of different things. It's It's the amount of work that's being made and the recognition.
Yeah.
There's certainly, I imagine, I mean, you know more about this than we do, that there is, an old guard there that is just not letting go.
Well,
I feel that way about the
Academy
Grammys,
Awards.
too. The Grammys, I'm like, I'll never forget, because everybody now makes a big deal about, like, the Beyonce not winning album of the year. I'll never forget
it was a good album.
Some years ago, this was in, like, the early aughts, that there was a bunch of, like, bangers nominated for album of the year, like total bangers and like critically acclaimed albums.
Yeah.
And the winner was Steely Dan. And I was like, Steely Dan? I don't even know one
and
song of
props
them.
to Steely, but like you're like, okay, who's behind the scenes here nominated?
Right.
So again, but if you pay attention to things like the Grammys, and there is, we can criticize or we can be a part of the change. And what does that mean? Joining the, the Academy. Joining there's an entire Grammys commission. So at the end of the day, if we want to be about a part of the process, we have to make sure we're actually a part of the process, not just complaining.
Right.
Right. We have to be proactive.
But isn't that the truth about everything?
Yeah, kind of. And it's not to say that you don't get X'd out, right? And like not even invited to the table. But if you're not invited to the table, the great thing about music is you get to make your own table and then you force people to listen to you.
Yeah.
So
the amount of people who are just SoundCloud artists.
Oh yeah, and killing it.
And killing it. Like I mean, I don't mean to say just SoundCloud artists, but I mean it's like they're not on a label. They've got no record. It's literally just here's my track, and they're killing it.
Tyler Perry said something very important, and I followed his career for over 20 years now because I used to work in Tallahassee. That's where I got my start, but that's where he was also doing like his little chitlin run, is what he used to call it, of his plays. He specifically went to launch his plays in the Chitlin circuit of markets. So that's like South Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, places where there was a lot of, places where the black church is very prominent. Mm-hmm. He specifically did that because he said, if I could get people to watch and embrace my plays, I wouldn't need to go to Hollywood. They'd come to me because, and so exactly what he did. He said, it's okay. He said he thrived because he was underestimated. He said, people would dog him out and say, no one's going to come to your stuff. There's no way. And then people would be wrapped around the movie theater and the theaters for those Tyler Perry plays. Mm-hmm. He said he went to Universal, I believe it was a time, or Fox Searchlight or something. And he said, hey, I've got this movie. I want to pitch you. Diary of a Mad Black Woman. They were like, so he said he went in there and he made the deal. I don't know how we're sliding into entrepreneurship, but it's a good nugget. So just listen.
Yeah.
So he said specifically, I remember this. He thrives under being underestimated because he went in there and he negotiated his way into $1 billion because they were like, okay, there's no way that your little movie's going to make any money. Mm-hmm. So he's like, okay, well, fine. Let's do this. Give me $1 million or whatever it was to make it. And if I do $100 million at the box office, I own the rights to all of the DVDs. And at this time, DVD was...
Right.
And they said, yeah. And that shit did $300 million in the first weekend. And now he's a billionaire because he then went on to make... And then he also said, and then you're going to fund 5 more of my movies. And here we are. So again, I don't know how we got here, but...
And he has a huge studio in Georgia. I mean, he built his reality. Because that studio that he built down there is like...
insane.
Or up there.
Yeah. So,
I always
and
say,
now Hollywood comes to Georgia to film because it's cheaper.
Yeah. No, I always say, like, if you want to motivate me, like my biggest motivator is spite.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I will do something. Like, if you say I can't do something, I'll be like, that's cute.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I will spite you, even if I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. No. And I have to say, maybe I've had a little bit more growth, but definitely I thrived under that type of underestimation.
Yeah.
Back in my 20s.
Yeah.
Just a couple years ago.
Just a couple years ago.
Please, it's like that was yesterday.
It's a leap year, so
Exactly.
But he's a good example of somebody who created his own reality.
Yeah, he is.
And he created something that like is so, in his case, so special for the black community, but then at the same time, something that everybody relates to and everybody enjoys his movies. Which that's a hard thing to do when you're doing something so culture specific that everybody can enjoy it.
Yeah, but that's what we've said so many times on this show is if you want to appeal to the masses, quote unquote, and you're doing something in the realm of either Latino, LGBT, Black, Asian, you have to be specific.
Yes.
Because
you have to niche down.
If not, you're this Latino
who goes to fiestas.
Right.
And loves things that are caliente.
Right. It's like what does that mean, right? Because you don't have a point of
Exactly.
view. If you have a point of
Yeah,
view,
you have
that's
to
why
have a point of view.
That's why I mean it's almost cliche to say, but My Big Fat Greek Wedding, why was it such a hit movie?
Yeah.
Because it was so specifically
Yeah.
Greek,
Yeah.
but then we related to it,
Yeah.
you related
Oh,
to
yeah.
it, Italians related to it, like
course.
everybody brought
It's
to
so
it
true.
their
It's so
own
true.
their own stuff.
And,
You know?
and everybody could identify with her or him, you know?
Right.
So, for sure.
Yeah.
That movie was hilarious. So
Yeah.
I
But,
was-
but now, what are we at? My big fat Greek wedding 7 or something?
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, listen,
Yeah.
she's milking that all over
I'm
the
not mad at her.
Acropolis.
Hopefully,
Make
she
that
had
money.
a good contract. Honey. I'm not
Make
mad
that
at her.
money. Listen,
I'm on the other end now. One thing about me, I'm not messing. I am not shading on anybody else's coins. Go make your money.
Listen,
Yeah.
as long as it's legit.
Yeah.
And you're paying your taxes.
Yeah.
Have at it.
There you go. There you go.
Have at it.
Which is why half the Miami commissioners here could never be in Hollywood because they don't make to pay their taxes. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. Sorry to go there.
Yeah. No.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Well, that's also because they don't pay in Bitcoin.
Okay.
There you go. There we go.
Do you think we're Joe Garoyo fans here?
Oh boy. I didn't listen. I don't take pleasure in a lot of stuff, but watching that unfold, and you know, I know the VO actor for Channel 7 who just recently retired, and I remember when that broke. Tonight on Channel 7 WSBN, Miami Commissioner Joe Garoyo is officially evicted, and it took a little. I don't like to take. I was happy.
There's a bit of schadenfreude.
It was like, you
Yeah.
know, sometimes, you know, you do wrong by people too many times.
Yeah.
Things catch up.
You know that I
Karma may take a
among
minute.
all the side gigs that I have,
Okay.
I also work.
You sure you're not Trini?
I
got mad
I also
side gigs,
I
son.
also work in politics.
Okay.
And you know, here on the show, we're not a political podcast, but when we've had to talk about politics because certain things are going on,
Yeah.
we'll talk about it. And a couple of years ago, when he was up for re-election, I didn't work on his opponent's campaign, but I knew people that did. And again, I run in political circles
Okay.
on the Democrat side, so I know what's going on more or less at all. Most
I
of
was
the
really
time.
rooting for that guy.
Yes, he was great.
Yeah.
And that's where I was going to. He canvassed every single door more than once.
Oh, wow.
And because he has a very small precinct.
Right.
It's like
It's
under
so little,
10,000 people.
But it goes to show you like how important voting is because 10,000 people in his district and look how much power he has.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going
Yeah.
at. So less than 10,000 people vote for that man, and
Wow.
look at the turmoil
Yes.
that we are
Yes.
all in because of a very small
Yep.
precinct.
Yep.
You know, because people always think like, oh, the general election, the president, all that.
No.
Of course, that's important.
It's the local
It's the
elections
local and the
that affect our daily
turmoil.
lives. Yes.
And you know, and we're being made a laughing stock because this is when stuff goes down in City Hall.
Oh, yeah.
It's put all over the country.
Oh, yeah.
Like that whole thing that he did a couple of years ago against Art Noriega, the Miami-Dade
yes.
police chief, that he put the video of him as in the Elvis suit. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
How do you think you're
Petty,
running
petty.
a government with any
Yeah, yeah,
decorum?
yeah.
Like,
And if you notice, like it's been a long record of him just always ready to throw hands down. Like he's ready to stand up and always trying to get in someone's face. Like, wait, don't you know that you work for us? I think
Does
they
not
forget
care.
that.
for
they do.
sure they forget that.
You know?
for sure,
So-
if they
ever
ever
knew.
Yeah,
they
the people.
We need a fresh start.
I don't know.
all across the board. Like fresh.
Let's try to
start.
manifest that tonight on this podcast. A
Fresh
new
start.
fresh start in
Fresh
Miami
start.
politics. Because
Yes.
baby.
We're gonna light an altar of candles. That's
Yes.
the only, it's the
Let's
only
do
way to do it.
something.
Yeah, and we're Caribbean folks, so
Yes,
we know how to do
know
that.
how
We
to
know how to
do
do
that.
that.
Yes, ain't nobody gonna.
And we got the chickens off Miami Avenue
There you go.
in Overtown.
And there's coconut somewhere.
And there's
We're fine.
coconuts
We're
and there's-
good.
we're good.
We're good. Actually, in this house, we've always got chicken anyway.
Yeah.
Because the
Yeah,
side
yeah.
hustle. So
That's true.
Oh my
we'll always
gosh.
have at least 30, 40 pounds of chicken in
Oh
the
my
in the
gosh.
freezer in the
That's
garage.
hilarious.
So yeah, so. Hey everyone, it's DJ. Y oye, you know we've been digging on Kawi Lemon Lime Soda for a bit now. The tart, sweet, bubbly taste of Kawi Lemon Lime is perfect for thirst quenching, and it's been a hit at all of our Ping Pong Pollo pop-ups. People love it. Not to mention, it's been a crisp, refreshing soda since 1948 without an aftertaste like some other sodas. Just saying. Así que get your Gawi Lemon Lime at your store or even online. And if your store doesn't carry it, pues pídelo and start enjoying the authentically Cuban taste of Gawi Lemon Lime today. Gawi Lemon Lime, que rico es. Anyway, are we thirsty?
I mean, I'm thirsty if you're thirsty. I don't know. Are you thirsty, Vanessa?
Let's do it.
All right. So.
Limón con lima, lima, limón. Lo trae Gawi, que vacilón. En la respuesta pa' este calor. Tómate un Gawi, lima, limón. Gawi!
Are you popping out? Are we popping jupiñas? What are we doing?
Well, we can pop jupiñas, but jupiñas, Gawis, materas,
Okay.
either of them is good. Actually,
Okay.
there's 3 of us, so 1 for each.
Okay.
Does not suck. So it's that time of the episode. I was gonna say the week where we give out our last Gawi of the desert. Now, as the
Okay.
guest, we will let
Okay.
you go first.
I get to go first?
Yes.
My last guy.
We were raised gentlemen.
Desert. Oh my God, I'm under so much pressure to go first. I don't know. Can I skip and come back?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, go. You go, because I'm like, I don't want to mess this up. It's got to be good.
So I want to give a Gawi to, and we'll table back to Vanessa in
Okay.
a minute. I want to go to a Gawi to, because this will be fun to talk about, to Scarlet Johansson.
Okay.
Did you see that Saturday Night Live cold opening last week where she
No.
did the whole
She's so amazing.
Katie Britt State of the Union rebuttal in the kitchen?
The state of the...
You haven't seen it, Vanessa?
I haven't seen it. I have to go look.
Okay.
I haven't seen it.
Okay,
I was
so-
traveling. That's
okay,
the only
okay.
reason.
All right.
So watch the original.
Okay.
Or just
No, I
watch it-
saw like a clip of the original,
original.
but...
Watch a few minutes.
I think
Okay.
you've got enough to know.
If you could get through it, watch a few minutes
Okay.
and then watch Scarlett Johansson's.
Okay.
It is, you know what's so funny about this? That things happen now, especially in the world of politics, that when they happen, you know that weekend SNL is grabbing
It's going to
hold
be
of that.
amazing.
And the moment...
It's so true.
the moment like the whole country as a collective saw that rebuttal, everybody was like, yeah. This
So
is,
who's gonna play her?
This is the cold opening
Yeah.
of SNL.
Yes.
And they did not disappoint. It was so hilarious how Scarlett Johansson, she went from being like your typical mom to like having that like terrifying face, like, but the immigrants, you know,
Yes.
the migrants,
The migrants.
and that's because of Joe Biden.
Yes.
But I love my kids.
Yes.
And I'm a
Yes.
soccer mom.
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, she's
But
got to
Joe-
and she's got to do it in like 15 seconds
Yeah,
or something
no,
because it's
it's
like
wild.
rat-a-tat.
It was
It's
hilarious. But she sort of had a bad week, though,
Yeah.
the senator, because she
She went viral for all the wrong reasons.
for
She
all
has
the
that
wrong
ugly-ass
reasons.
kitchen?
From the kitchen.
What is the kitchen?
Yes.
That
The
kitchen
kitchen-
looked generic on generic
No,
on
no,
generic.
no. Was the kitchen AI?
That's what people
No,
are
because
saying.
they were
yes.
that. The kitchen has no florals. There was no flour. Like, the flour, sugar, coffee,
Yeah.
black pepper, salt. ¿Dónde está la cosa?
I think it was
All
maybe
the
one
stuff.
of those Zoom backgrounds. AI
No, I'm
backgrounds.
not kidding. It does feel like the
I never
kitchen.
thought
But
about
you know
it.
what though?
I never saw the thing
SNL
about
had
that.
the same background, so I'm thinking that yes.
Well, but SNL could have probably just gotten the picture of her
Maybe,
thing and
but,
green screen
but
that.
she
Yeah.
was moving around. Scarlett Johansson. I don't know. But I think maybe you're onto something. But
Okay.
but it was funny because she thought she did such a good thing there in that
Yeah,
rebuttal,
yeah.
and then she
That's-
started saying this story about this woman who was like gang raped because of the cartels
I saw
and all that.
clips. I'm like, what is happening?
And-
What did I miss?
and
Apparently
she
not
said
much.
This whole story, and because it's Joe Biden's immigrant policies, and
Yeah.
that's not to say that his policies on immigration are not up for scrutiny.
No, they
are.
should be.
They are. But she thought she had such a flex there,
I know,
and
no
then
flex.
the woman came out and it's like, yeah, that's not exactly how it happened.
No.
And what did happen
Oh
happened
my
in 2004.
gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my
happened 20
goodness.
years
Before
ago.
the Obama administration.
It was
so you
during
can't
the Bush
blame
era.
them.
So like, it was just
Yeah.
a whole big mess. And SNL, of course, did a
Yeah.
brought
They always do a good job.
They always bring it.
They did a
Yes.
great job. So SNL and most importantly, Scarlett Johansson,
Are
you
your
got my last
Gowies.
Gowie.
Yes,
Okay.
Miss Colin Jost.
All right, what's yours? I can't believe they're married. They make such a fabulous couple, and I would never put them together.
No.
See, I think they're mismatched.
Do you?
Like visually.
Oh, well.
Visually, because she's such a bombshell,
But,
and he's
but
so
Colin Jost is a vibe in real life. Like, he's cool.
Oh, I have no doubt.
She's cool.
Yeah, but
in real life.
But I'm just
so
saying
I
visually,
get how.
I'm
Yeah.
she's like Black Widow bombshell, and then
Yeah,
he's
that's
like,
true.
I'm the SNL Weekend Update guy. You know, I don't know. It's
I
like
feel you.
I wouldn't have put them together. Let's put it that way.
I feel you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He's still cute, but
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. What's yours?
All right. Well, my last Cowie. See, I'm actually going to go ahead and give my last Cowie to you.
To me?
Yes. I'm gonna
Now you make me look bad.
Oh my God.
No, it's okay. I'm giving it to you. Number one, thank you for coming by.
Thank
for,
you.
For, you know,
now I
stopping
feel
by
like
and-
I do feel like I needed a Cowie and the guava wings though. Like you guys.
Well, we could definitely hook you up with the Cowie right now.
Okay.
Because we have a lot of Cowie.
We have
Okay.
it downstairs.
We will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll hook you up with
For
the
sure,
shirt.
for sure. But no, again, like I said earlier, you know, you're someone who's just like, you know what, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna, like you said, you know, you were at the beat, they changed formats.
Yeah.
You're like, let's pivot, let's figure out.
We're
life.
not moving out of Miami because they wanted to move me, and I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah,
I didn't want to move.
And but you made your own lane.
Yeah.
You made your own lane, and that is something that I celebrate every day. And you're so damn good at it too.
Thank
like,
you.
I'm actually gonna. Can you be a little less good at it? Because you know it's hard.
Maybe
to,
in 20 years.
It's hard to keep up when
Okay,
you're.
well,
when
Yeah,
20
you're
Vanessa,
years, I
you
guess.
make us
good
look bad.
I'm giving myself 20 more years to get that house on the Venetian.
Okay, all right.
And then after that, we'll
Goals.
see.
All right,
Goals,
yeah.
right?
And that's great because by then you'll be 40.
Yes, and I'll be 40, and hopefully it's still there and not underwater because this is in Miami.
But that'll make it
I
cheaper.
think that's the worst.
Maybe it'll be cheaper.
No. Okay. Well, if you get it on stilts,
If you
you
get
know,
it on
anything is
stilts.
possible.
Yeah.
You know.
But again, thank you. I mean, I just wanted to give you the last Cowie. Thank you for coming by, but also thank you for just being a great representation of what you can achieve if you really just put your damn nose to the grindstone and do it.
I'm gonna be crying over here on the bed. Let me tell you, podcast. I can't.
I actually,
Marcos told me don't go on there crying.
I do have a history of making people inadvertently
you?
cry on the
Oh,
show.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna give my Cowie then to Miami.
Good
All
one.
right.
We've never given a Cowie to Miami.
Our entire show is a love letter to Miami.
It is. It is. I think that I'm giving a Cowie to Miami because although we got our things going on that we need to fix, and
Yes.
we're clearly very welcoming, so now all these new people are here. I love the diversity that is this city. I really love the fact that I can, pretty much any pocket of this entire, space, it invites you to just like rediscover something new. I always feel at home no matter where I go. It doesn't matter. For instance, yesterday I was at Historic Virginia Key. I was doing a walkthrough for my event, and Jerry, who works at the park, was sitting there. Jerry's Haitian, blasting compa. And I needed to ask a question. Dun, 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 dun. And I trying to get his attention. I couldn't get it. And I'm like, I go, let me dance. So I start dancing like this outside of, and then he's like, oh, what do you need? What do you need? What do you want? So I do feel like we do hospitality like nowhere else. And sometimes we could come off a little stush until you get to know us. And that's what, like, the diversity of Miami makes us so special. I hope we never lose that, And there's a lot of connectiveness here that I don't really feel like you get in other places, except the Caribbean, of course. That's my other Cowie.
We're the Northern Caribbean.
Ooh, I like that.
Everything that you said, I so feel that because, like, for example, last week I mentioned something on the podcast and I did a little video of it, how I went to a big box store and I was looking for paper fasteners.
Okay.
And 3 of the ladies that worked there did not know what it was.
Oh.
And they barely spoke English.
Okay.
And I wasn't mad at it. I was like, where else in the country does this happen? Now they all looked at me like,
¿Qué?
¿Qué? That's
¿Pero
exactly
qué?
how it was.
Pero,
¿Qué?
ajá.
Pero tú estás seguro que eso lo venden aquí? Like, what? And I was like, I'm not mad at you. I'm not.
No.
I'm not. And
Did
then
you
I went,
find them?
I found them because I went on the store's website, so I got the SKU number. And
Eso, estoy buscando
she
esta.
put it in. She's like, I see, está allí.
Ajá.
And I was like, I'm not mad at this. I started to laugh.
I speak very conversational. I can get through a pachanga at the Cuban's house for Nochebuena easily with all the tias that I've never met. And I can go to the market and buy things.
Right.
But again, in Miami, we just have a way of communicating. I can communicate. And
Somehow it works.
It works.
Somehow
it definitely works.
It works. So
Because I don't know how to say paper fastener in Spanish.
No.
So.
Tú sabes la cosa que,
La cosa que hace así para el papel. Eso. What? ¿Qué?
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, well, this was fun.
This was fun.
We need to have you
Yes.
on the show again, Vanessa, as co-host.
I would love to. I mean, now I feel like
You didn't know this, but you're now in the rotation for co-host.
Okay.
If one of us can't make it,
I love
So
that.
just
You've
heads up.
You've joined the short list.
Yes.
Okay.
Along with
Okay.
Lucy Lowe.
Okay.
I think Lucy
Down.
has co-hosted like three times.
3 times, yeah.
Has she?
Yeah.
All right. I'm so down.
Hey, Lucy, one of us is out. Like, can you come over?
What do you do? Can I? Yeah. Are there gowies?
Yes. There will
Always.
be. You're going home with some kawi today. So, anyway, everybody, this was a lot of fun. Thank you again, Vanessa, for being with us. We hope you listened, laughed, and learned. And as always, remember to grab your croqueta, your pastelito, and your kawi. And thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Have a great, great weekend. See you all next week.
Wait and say
Bye.
Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.